Today I'm going to be talking about the 3D field in film and videography, and by that I mean things like positive volume, negative volume, volume duality, all to do with depth, how many things are in the frame, the wideness of the frame, the tightness of the frame, and how we just show the real world and even not the real world, the alternate world in video and film. And I'm gonna do this way better than Peter McKinnon ever could, because I'm not a caffeine addict. I just run off my own energy and steam. So yeah, get wrecked, Peter McKinnon. It's all about me, not about you. Screw you, Peter McKinnon. If you wanna, just endorse me, but that'd be cool. Then screw you not anymore. Alright, so you heard all those fancy terms, not so fancy. First one is positive volume. What this is something in the frame that has substance. What negative volume is basically everything around the positive volume. It is, by definition, defined by the positive volume. And then there is volume duality, which is basically when positive volume and negative volume switch around and almost have a little bit of a tug of war. Now, these all can create different emotions within an audience. For example, a lot of positive volume can either create a feeling of lots of life and things happening, or just things being way too clustered. Negative volume can create a feeling of emptiness or uncertainty. A great example of this is in Saving Private Ryan during the scene at night in the French countryside during the thunderstorm. You see the characters far away, just their silhouettes basically, and then the expanse of the countryside is that negative space, and the positive space, the positive volume, is the silhouettes, is the people that we see. And this is a wide shot, and this is very important because it has to do with what lenses you use for what you want to convey. The fact that it's a wide shot and that the people, the positive volume, make up so little of the shot gives you a sense of uncertainty of what's going to happen. It makes you feel that these characters are small and are at odds in terms of, will they live? Will they die? Are they going to actually do what they need to do? And are they going to find this needle in the haystack person known as Private Ryan? Now, if this exact same shot was done tighter with a tighter lens, then you could have a feeling that you're actually more confident in these characters, because in the actual shot they're walking pretty headstrong when you watch them from that wide shot. So if we had that tighter in and there was less of this feeling of eeriness and emptiness almost, you might feel a lot more confident that they're going to pull off their goal. Now let's talk about depth and how you can show depth. For example, would be, say we have Coke cans on a z-axis like this, right, which is just a straight line going straight down, of Coke cans on, let's say, a 100-meter expanse of dirt, and those Coke cans are lined up perfectly. Now if you had, say, a wide shot, right, of those Coke cans, then you could easily see, because one starts out fairly big and then the other at the end is very, very small, and you can see there's lots of them. You can see that there is, number one, lots of Coke cans, and number two, that they are very far away from each other from start to finish because of the size difference that you see, where the last one is almost a little speck that you can hardly make out. And that's what the wide shot can really do, is show you things very, very clearly. But you can get a similar effect with a tight shot if you filmed it from, say, the side, and you've got half of the Coke can and about half of the negative space, and you see the line going down like that almost. But if you were to shoot the Coke can center on, you would hardly get any negative space. And then there is overlapping panels. What this is look at my two hands here. Now this one's further towards the camera, right? Now we don't exactly know how far the one hand is from the other. We just know that it is further away. Now you do have a better idea because I showed you like this first, but now just look how much clearer it becomes when I do this. The space between them, the distance between them, is way easier to tell when you do this than this. Now humans aren't retarded. Well, some of them are. Bit of an inappropriate joke. Oh well, it's in here already. When you do this, it becomes so much easier to tell exactly how much further away and how much closer something is. And that is known as overlapping panels, and it's very useful, especially when you want to show that things are either quite far away or quite close in terms of distance, but maybe they are quite far away in terms of actual proximity to each other. So they could be like this in terms of, you know, how close they are to each other in terms of their parallel, yet they could actually be quite far away from each other, but yet they are still in a parallel to each other. And then this will obviously show that's still overlapping, but they're overlapping a little bit different. And it's a very useful technique to tell how far away something is and how parallel something is to something else. Very useful when you're, say, about to start a gunfight and you can tell that these two people are pretty much parallel with each other, however they are far apart, and obviously they're not completely parallel with each other to have overlapping panels, but they're almost completely, like my hands are right now. I think one key thing to note before I end off here is that the filmmakers can really do what they want here. They can really just mess us around as much as they want. For example, if something flies by the camera really quickly and you can't tell how close it was to the camera, they can either leave that ambiguous, or they could, say, show dirt kicking up onto the lens to show, whoa, that was something very, very close to either the character or whatever the point of interest is that the camera is mounted to. So little things like kicking up dirt onto the lens, leaving it ambiguous, stuff like that is very useful techniques. Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate you subscribing, and if you don't, I know where you live now because of Zuckerberg, so just be careful, that's all I'm saying.
You're Mark Zuckerberg.
It's time for some mind games.